Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be doing a little much needed landscaping. I'm not going to do a lot of talking throughout this video because there's really not a lot to say. I will give you a couple of quick pointers before I begin. When you're shopping for plants, make sure you buy plants that like sun if you're planting them in an area that gets a lot of sun. Likewise, make sure you buy plants that like shade if you're planting them in a shady area. Other than that, just don't overthink it. Come up with an idea and then work through that idea, but do not be afraid to make changes as you go. When I'm doing this type of work, I make a lot of changes on the fly, and that's what makes it enjoyable for me. It's an opportunity to just create as you go. So I have kind of a cool little idea for this area. Instead of just doing your basic shrubs and flowers, I'm going to be doing a water feature. So I'm going to take a 20-gallon flower pot and I'm going to turn it into a flower pot pond. So it will have pond plants in it. And I'm going to put some fish in it as well. Maybe a little fountain. So I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. But for now, just sit back, relax, watch me play in the dirt. And hopefully my little project here can help to foster a little creativity that you can apply to one of your projects. Thanks for watching. Well, I found a little problem. The support posts holding up the front porch have a good amount of rot. This one is way worse than the other side, but they both have some damage. They both should be replaced. You can see where I painted over some wood rot last summer when I redid the front porch. So I knew that there was some damage, but I guess I didn't realize that this post was actually buried under the ground. So it's soft all the way through. So the right thing to do would be to stop working on the landscaping and change these posts out. But we're going to do the exact opposite. I'm just going to pretend I didn't see this and move ahead with the current project at hand. If you let every little thing derail you, you never get anything accomplished. So I'll be able to get behind the landscaping after the fact because I'm going to have a little retaining wall here. So I'll still be able to get behind here and replace the posts. Once I'm finished, I will get some small pole jacks, or if I can't find something small enough, I'll get some cheap Harbor Freight bottle jacks, throw them on some pavers, and add some temporary supports. And that way I can come back and fix this on my own time when I'm ready and I can devote the time to it. So I'm going to start letting you in on my vision here. I have that little bit of a retaining wall or block wall that I put in. And then I'm going to have some block in front, some different styles of rock or landscape block that I just have laying around to build sort of a elevated planting area. And then we're going to put these brocade willows in, which will actually get gigantic if you let them, but I'm going to try to keep them trimmed down small, somewhat like they are now. And that's going to be my background. And then I have a couple false cypresses that I'm going to put on either side out. And then we'll have a low spot with a rock shelf where I'm going to put a little flower pot pond. All right, so this is where we're at. Everything's planted, everything's mulched. I have my half barrel flower pot put in place. Now, I'm thinking we might plant flowers out front here, but for now I just want to get what I have planted, get this somewhat sewed up so that I can move on to the next thing. Now I'm going to do something unique with this pot. Instead of just planting flowers or something in it, we're going to turn this into a water feature. So you can see inside I have gravel, and that is aquarium gravel. It actually came out of one of my fish tanks that I had to take down, and it did still have some water in it, so I'm hoping I have a little bit of bacteria alive in it still. I'm also going to do a water change real quick on one of my 55-gallon tanks. I'm going to take some of that water, pour it into here in an effort to jumpstart the bacteria, and then we'll fill it the rest of the way up. And I'm going to put some aquatic plants in this. I'm going to have a little fountain for starters. I'm going to put a handful of rice fish or white cloud minnows. And then eventually I'm going to do something different with the fountain, but I got to buy some stuff. So here's the flower pot pond with water in it and a little solar powered water fountain. The water is cloudy, but it was just filled up, so it's got a cycle just like a regular fish tank, and eventually that water will be clear and we'll get some plants in there and then eventually some fish. All right, so here we go. Check it out, everyone. I'm super stoked about this. This is my flower pot pond about a month after I set it up. I got some pond plants from a local pond plant and fountain store, and the plants are all doing really good. They've been growing like crazy. I have to come out, maybe once, at least once every week, sometimes once every few days, and actually trim plants out and take stuff out and throw it away, because they grow so quick, and they're doing so good that they'll just overtake the whole thing. So the next thing we got to do is just add some fish. So here I have 10 Blue Calico Platys that I'm adding to the pond. They should do pretty good in there. They're live bearers, so with any luck, they'll have babies, and I'll have an overabundance of Calico Platys. So here's the container pond about 2 months in. Everything's doing fantastic. The plants are doing great. They multiply like crazy. I routinely have to trim them and thin them out. I did add fish. I put Blue Calico Platys in here. I put 10 of them in. They're doing great as well. They've already had offspring. I can't get the fry on camera. They're too small to show up. I can't get the camera to focus on them, but so far I've counted at least 15 fry in there. I'm sure there's more, and I'm sure they'll keep multiplying. As far as what type of plants I have in here, starting at the front and working backwards, the first thing is called mosaic plant. It's actually a form of Ludwigia, so I just call it Ludwigia mosaic. The yellow-green leaves, that's golden creeping jenny. And then in the very back, the tall plant is called pink bells. And then in the large green plants that float in the back, that's water hyacinth. So the water hyacinth and the pink bells, they both flower. They get pinkish purplish flowers on them. The flowers don't last very long, but you wind up with a few flowers maybe once every 2 or 3 days, and they last about a day and then they drop off. So you get small splashes of color. Now, most of these plants are tropical. The fish are tropical. I live in the Cincinnati area, so we definitely get cold winters. So I will have to break this down and move it indoors. That's the plan anyways, and try to overwinter it indoors with a grow light hanging over it. Hopefully I can keep the plants and everything going. The fish are no big deal. They'll stay alive for sure. Currently, I am running a 100 watt, just a standard 100 watt aquarium heater in this, because even though it's the middle of summer right now, nighttime does still drop down to about 70 degrees, and I didn't want too big of a temperature swing. So I am running a 100 watt heater, and I'm hoping that I can get by keeping everything outside until end of September, beginning of October. At that point in time, I'll break it all down and move it into the basement. Like I said, with a grow light over it. And if I can overwinter everything, then it's as simple as just draining it back down, moving it back outside in the spring, filling it back up, and then I have my container pond back outside again. But so far, I'm super happy with this setup. It was pretty easy to get going. I don't have a ton of money in it, and it's really kind of a unique centerpiece for right out in the front of the house.